as obsessed with ghosts and finding spirits and contacting them that everybody seems to be nowadays, or, all those like ghost hunter shows, this actually isn't a new thing in human history. People have always been pretty obsessed with the afterlife, how to contact families and friends in the afterlife, etc. And this was really especially strong in the late 1800s, early 1900s, which also happened to coincide with the invention of photography. So, as you can probably imagine, there was a lot of pop-ups and things happening where photographers were claiming to be able to capture the spirit of the lost one in a photograph, or photographing ghosts or other spirits in a photo. That was really redundant, wasn't it? This was something called spirit photography, and as you can probably imagine, it was a huge scam. Photographers weren't capturing, past relatives on film. They were playing with the science and art behind photography. So that's what we're talking about today. Photography, as we know it today, started out by a system of a photo or light-sensitive silver halide emulsion being applied to a plate, being inserted into a camera, and then being exposed to light. And that light hits the film, and it creates an image, which you develop, and I have a lot of videos on the chemistry of photography development, because that's a fun subject. That's not what this video is about. And now today, instead of having film in our cameras, we, for the most part, have digital sensors that do the exact same thing. Capture the light from the image you want to take and convert it via electrical signals into a photo. And nowadays we have stuff like Photoshop or even artificial intelligence that allows us to basically kind of do whatever we want with a photo, or even create a photo that never actually existed. And guess what? Since the history of photography, so too has been the history of people messing with photographs, except not in the same way with computers we do nowadays. There were people who could cut out different negatives, paste them together, and make a final print. You could actually expose your image twice, so open the shutter, get one image, close it without advancing your film, so on the same plate, take another photo. And these are the different weird techniques that people actually used to create this spirit photography. So for example, there is a rather famous photo of Mary Todd Lincoln with the ghost of Abraham Lincoln standing before her, created by composing and smooshing together different negatives on top of each other. You could even actually sit down for a portrait and have the person develop it live in front of you and still have ghostly images appearing in the background that weren't there. Guess what? It's very easy for that photographer to have staged the first exposure of something before that person sat down for the portrait, and then have them sit down and develop the plate, and bam, ghosts. So today we're going to try out a little about that, trying out both long exposures and double exposures on my cameras. So let's get started on that. I'm excited. Let's go make our own spooky photography. So first I wanted to start out with the long exposures, wearing my brittle star larvae dress because I thought the lights and a long exposure would go together perfectly. I actually took all of these photos by myself, which was an interesting challenge, navigating the camera, the hallways, the dress, etc. And so basically all I did for these was I started my camera and walked down the hallway in different fashions. You could see me moving slowly. Sometimes I moved a little bit quicker and stopped at different places to capture an image that over the time period of about between 10 and 20 seconds, just to kind of see what would happen. And let's look at these results. I'm actually really hyped with how they turned out. I honestly was not expecting them to turn out this fantastic. I look like a lightning spirit ghost orb thing. And you can tell where I paused for longer in some of these photos because my face or the image is a little bit more defined. So when it's super abstract and just very much a light trail, I was moving a lot faster, and places where I would stop every couple of seconds and you could see more of my face is where I stayed still for longer. Alright, now it's time to film the double exposure side of things. This is gonna be interesting. I got old Halloween costumes out and I'm gonna try to make myself as spooky as possible. Let's go do it. Filming the double exposures took a little bit more thought and some camera expertise. We ended up, just for the camera nerds out here, using a Mamiya 645, which enables you to do multiple exposures. And I basically would stand for one shot of the image and then change outfits and then go for the other shot on the same roll of film. So this is one of Ada Byron Lovelace with my women scientist inspired Ada Byron Lovelace outfit layered on top of each other going together. So we take 2 photos, but each on the same piece of film, so they'd be layering on top of each other. I also did this fun one acting as a ghost, and then somebody being scared by a ghost. And then I actually did a few long exposures as well to get some ghostly images just moving out of the frame. I messed up on this one, but that's okay. Alright, all done taking photos. Gonna go clean up the aftermath. Here's the roll of film I got from it. Gonna develop it tomorrow, and fingers crossed, we have some really cool ghostly results. You are not even gonna believe how these turned out. Oh my gosh, they turned out so much better than, like, they turned out exactly how I wanted them to. So I am so hype. So first we have this picture of, like, Ada Byron Lovelace combined with my Ada Byron Lovelace inspired outfit that I think turned out really cute. I wish probably that we had taken a little bit longer exposure of my, like, modern day outfit just so I appeared a little bit more solid, but whatever. Next, I had this great idea to do, like, a contrast of, like, modern sewing versus, like, old-fashioned sewing. So I did the old-fashioned sewing machine with the old-fashioned outfit, and then me in a modern outfit with my modern sewing machine, just showing the dichotomy of sewing across the years. Also turned out pretty great. These are all my ideas. They just turned out so good. This one I wanted to do for pure funniness, just, like, actually put a sheet over my head and be a ghost and react to somebody being a ghost. I thought it also turned out really good. I'm sorry, all of these I think turned out fantastic, but I just thought the humor of the actual white sheet ghost was just really funny. Then I thought it'd be fun to take a picture of me pretending to take a picture of a ghost. So for this, I put on actually my old Hedy Lamarr outfit that I did a couple years ago for Halloween, and then took out obviously my camera dress and pretended to take a picture of me seeing a ghost. I have no idea why, like, the ghost me looks so much taller than real me. I think maybe I was standing a little closer to the camera. I don't know, but I, like, love the way I look very, like, statuesque and, like, just staring off into space and, like, superior ghost energy. Sorry, I love the way these turned out. And then this one was actually a long exposure, not a double exposure, where I stood still for a good majority of the exposure and then quickly walked out of frame so it could capture more of the background, and that's why I look transparent. So I just thought, cool, ghost reading in an old-fashioned library. Cool. This one, though, I think is my all-time favorite. I'm sorry, these are all so good. These turned out so much better than I possibly could have even imagined. This one, I was like, I want to accompany myself on the organ. Because oftentimes when you're playing organ pieces, you'll have, like, you can have multiple people playing. And I was like, I want to accompany myself on the organ. And that's what I did. And I think it turned out really good with the contrast of the outfits. And then even funnier is I had a skeleton hand on my organ in the first place for Halloween decorations. So it just kind of fit into the spooky vibe. This one is just, for me personally, hilarious. It's the ghost of Ada Byron Lovelace staring over me casually sitting at a computer, and she's like, mind is blown because of she's never seen, like, she was the first computer programmer, and she probably can't even possibly imagine what computers are like today. So I just really did that one for, like, humor. I don't know if anybody else finds that funny other than me, but I thought it was funny. And then next I did a series of long exposures very similar to the Brittle Star Larvae ones, where I basically just, like, walked down my hallway in different outfits and stopped at different points. And then finally I just took one last portrait just to use up the roll. That was just spooky makeup and historical dress. So those are all the photos. I think they turned out fantastic, both the Brittle Star Larvae light long exposures and these ghostly film photography ones. And I just want to say that other than a few color tweaks, like, I made most of my images a little bit darker or more contrasty to heighten the spooky effect, I didn't use Photoshop at all. Like, all of those were created either by taking 20-second long pictures or by taking multiple pictures on the same frame of film to create a ghost effect. So cool. So this is mimicking the way back in the day, or some of the ways back in the day, they would make spirits appear in photography. So all these are real photos, as spooky as they look. Thank you all for watching. I hope you found this very interesting. I had so much fun making this video and taking all of these photos and getting to try some of these techniques. So please like it. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Tell your friends all about it. And as always, keep it sciencey!